Killer Mike, what's up, baby?
Yeah, man, you don't give me that reaction, man. Next time you see me, I need you to touch your hands in the air.
You better put some respect on LP's name.
LP, it's nothing like it. It's just, I just saw, OG Killer Mike posting the Cripple Kush the other day, and it got me all excited.
Nah,
and
it's
now
cool, man. The damage has been done. The damage has been fucking done.
This is how we start.
Oh my gosh! So first of all, thank you. Run the Jewels for joining us. Killer Mike, LP. I'm excited about this. Anthony, go ahead. I can tell Anthony's jumping out the window over here. Go ahead. Begin wherever you want to begin.
I got two questions. One, going back to your guys' interview with Complex, LP. You guys were talking about how you and Killer Mike never let each other settle for second best in what you guys are pursuing. Has that relationship always kind of been like that? And is it like a teammate type of friendly relationship? Or how do you guys just push each other without getting on each other's nerves or letting the ego invade?
No, we do get on each other's nerves. We absolutely get on each other's nerves. Most of the time, it's not like that. Most of the time, from the minute we started working together, we were both in it for the same reasons. We wanted to make something beautiful. We put each other in each other's hands. You know what I mean? And we just we know how special and rare it is to get the opportunity to do what you love to do for a living. And for guys like us who've been around for a minute, had a lot of different phases in our careers, we're not stupid. We know that every moment that we're allowed to do this shit is amazing. And so we take it seriously, man. We try and make the best art possible. If Mike sees something that I could have done better, or if I see something Mike could do better, we have a lot of conversation. We go in. We're very much like we're on the same mission, just to make sure that when we leave the room, that we love the record, and that's all you can do. You know what I mean? Like that, we don't want any regrets. We don't want to be like, I could have done this better. If the world hates us, then that's one thing. But if we don't like what we did, then we got to blame ourselves. So.
I love it because I felt like that artistry, the one with you guys and 2 Chainz, like his verse on there, like I could tell that he was being motivated by what you guys said before him. So it was like when it got to his part of the track and he did his 2012 2 Chainz, I could feel the inspiration that Run the Jewels is providing. And
he was because he redid his shit. We had him on another song, and we moved his verse to that jam because we were like, this fits better. We played it for him, and he heard our verses and he heard his verse. And he's a perfectionist like we are, so he was like, "Nah, I gotta do a new verse for this new beat." And I gotta, he heard what we were doing. So shout out to 2 Chainz. He's a legend, and he's just as much of a rap nerd as we are.
So the heart is going, like, in terms of lyrically, like, I love it. Like, I've always been a fan of Tick. We were on many of the same paths in the mixtape run. As his mixtape series is going, we get, you get booked in some of the same venues. So I'm a big fan of his. Even from the DTP days, he was out rapping the shit out of his contemporaries. So I'm glad.
And that's the thing with 2 Chainz. We always talk about his flow. We always talk about how he comes in with his verse. He never misses. It's always a party with 2 Chainz.
I'm trying to be frank.
Oh my God! But Run the Jewels 4 is like one of my favorite. It's like people are saying it's, people are automatically getting activism music and stuff like that. But I just getting into the cuts and like I'm just enjoying the slaps, like the pure music of what it is.
Thank you.
And so thank you guys. Thank you guys for making something like turn and woke at the same time.
Can I take a moment to say thank you for putting some money in Greg Nice's pocket? I love that track.
Hey, thank Greg Nice for blessing us because we're like he's a hero to us. You know what I mean? Like he's a golden voice. Like we were honored to have him on the record, man. It's not about that for us. It was like, man, anything that we can do to work with one of our heroes is just an incredible thing. So.
And personally speaking of heroes, the collab with Zach LaRoche. Whoa, dog. Is there more, Killer Mike? Is there more in the vault of what we heard with that? Is there more of those records?
Zach has been on 3 records with us for 3 albums, and him and Elle have been friends for over 20 years, like 21 years now. He and I have grown a close friendship since he jumped on the first feature with us. So I would like to be making music with Zach to, make music with him. He's an incredible MC. Dope as lyrics he's going.
One of the things that, everybody has mentioned is the activism and this and that, and the music, though, itself is just incredible. LP, Killer Mike, whoever wants to answer this, I know that cancel culture is real. Are you ever afraid to say something? Is there ever something you guys say, you rap, you write, you think about, you're like, I don't know if I want to go there because you feel like you might cross a line or you might hurt someone's feelings or it might be the wrong thing? Because I know Killer Mike, I saw when you did the interview with the NRA, I saw a lot of people weren't happy with that and you took a lot of heat. Is there ever a moment either of you has said, maybe we're going too far or maybe this isn't what we want to say?
I think we just make sure that when we put the record out that we can stand behind everything we say, man. I mean, if you're writing and you're putting stuff out there, I think you're constantly thinking about what it is that you want to put out there, you know? So we go back and we listen and we fine tune it, not because of being scared, but because we want to make sure that we're representing ourselves. Sometimes you can think of the craziest shit in the world, stoned, having fun with your friend, listening to a raw beat, and you might say the craziest possible shit because that's just the MC shit. You know what I mean? Like that's just like you might just say some crazy shit. It doesn't always stay on the record. Mike's verse in Just, which I think is one of the most powerful verses on the album, low key, is he went in and he had like 2 bars in there that kind of threw the whole concept of what he was doing off. And he went in and zeroed in on it and changed it. We do that. We go back in and we make sure that we're saying what we want to say. And can I just take a second, Anthony, thank you for recognizing the fact that we just make banging ass hip hop music, by the way. We're not activist rappers. We're just dudes who say some shit sometimes that we feel it, but really we're just trying to make shit that you could bump in your whip, that you could just get down to. And you know, I just want to thank you for that, because a lot of times it's really tempting for people to just be like, because you got to understand, Run the Jewels, we came out like we smoke weed, we're talking stupidest shit possible, we're shooting poodles, we're fucking, you know, like we give ourselves the room to be just who we are and just joke around. And sometimes the focus is a little heavy on the politics shit, and that's not really the full story of who we are. So thank you for that.
I got a question for you, LP. What's the difference between, you know, you own and run Def Jux and now being in like this super group? What's the difference between being the owner of a label and then being a participant in a group that's being put out by another label?
I'm not doing drugs every other night because I can't stand the pressure of running a record label. I'm making music more than once every 5 years. You see my skin, it's clear, you know, I'm not graying too much. You know, like I honestly, like,
who knew Killer Mike was running a rehab? Damn.
Yeah. The Killer Mike weed hab. But you know, but basically, like, there you go. Man, nah, I'm just happy to be an artist, man. Like I love what we did with Def Jux and it was important, but at the end of the day, I just knew that my calling was to be an artist. And I'm just really grateful that I got to pursue that. I met somebody who I love, who inspires me, who we could make amazing music with, and it's been on ever since. It's like, you know, and I don't regret any of it, but it wouldn't be something I would choose to do again just because I'm too excited about focusing on art, you know?
I got a question for you, Killer Mike. So I know you're a big Second Amendment advocate, and I just want to ask you, what's the difference between you walking around legally armed and LP walking around legally armed?
Oh.
In the state of New York, they'll lock you up.
I can't.
In New York, they can't, yeah. Well, let's say you were in Atlanta with Killer Mike. What's the difference between you walking around armed and him walking around armed?
Nothing in Atlanta.
Nothing in Atlanta? You don't think there's going to be problems? Did you see the video today?
No, I walk around armed every day. Anytime you see me out in the streets in Atlanta, there's a firearm.
Okay. All right. So there's no difference. All right.
Geez, what are you getting at, DJ Automatic? What are you trying to say?
I'm just saying.
Okay.
If you're asking about Georgia, Georgia is different than Atlanta. Atlanta is a progressive, democratically run city in the state of Georgia. It's ran by black mayors. It has over 50% black police force. And by Georgia compliance, if I do not have a firearms concealed carry license, as long as that firearm is unchambered and unloaded and in my trunk or in my glove compartment, it's legal anywhere in Georgia. But in the city of Atlanta, I have a concealed carry license, which is for the whole state. I have a gun on me concealed at any time I'm in public, as does my wife. It's in my car, and you can ride with it in your car because it's an extension of your home in Georgia. If the state patrol stops me in South Georgia, it may take me an extra 15 minutes to get clear if I don't have my concealed carry license. But usually with that concealed carry license, that lets the policeman know immediately I'm not a felon, and if you get a ticket, you do for speeding. If you don't, you don't. and you keep it going. But gun ownership is more than I can own a gun. L is white, so he may get treated differently or more favorably. Gun ownership is about knowing your Second Amendment rights, knowing how to use that weapon, training in that weapon, and knowing the laws of the places you go to. So I would just encourage people who are into gun ownership to know that gun ownership is something beyond buying a weapon for fear that the boogeyman may kick your window down or your door.
Thank you.
So use your Second Amendment right to buy a firearm, but use your good sense and your common sense to make sure you're properly trained in using that firearm and you know the laws.
Yeah, because I think all of us are big Second Amendment activists as we are First Amendment activists. I'm sure all of us on this call. But sometimes, sometimes people don't understand the difference in just buying a gun and really understanding this is a powerful weapon. You need to know how to use it. I have a gun, and we have 2 guns in our home. As a woman, sometimes when my husband's traveling DJing, I want to feel safe. I want to feel like I can protect myself, but I also want to make sure that we're safe. We got a child in the house, and you have to educate your children as well. It's very important. Kids want to play with things. If you're hiding something from them, that'll make them even more curious to want to play with it.
Absolutely.
And if you didn't know, Dana and I are married. So that's what.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, wow. Okay.
In case that man is traveling.
Yeah, so that makes sense.
Pull a gun out,
yeah. You guys are pro Second. Hey, man, I look forward to going and shooting with you and Shay. When me and my girl Shay go out, and the kids, the boys anyway, we've taken out. We got to take the girls out more. So whenever you come to Atlanta, we'll go out to Stoddard's and get some shooting in.
Let's do it. I love it. I love it. You had Killer Mike. When you got on television recently, it was very moving. You talked about plotting, planning, mobilizing, strategizing, and organizing. And I know that Run the Jewels isn't all about politics, but you both speak very openly about the way you feel as you're making party music, as you're making bangers. When you are asked to speak politically, do you sometimes hesitate because of the music, because you don't want to be put into this political category? Or do you feel passionate about, hey, you know what? I want to talk about my community. I want to talk about this issue.
No, most of the time I say no. Absolutely. Yeah, I'm in GQ this month. Shouts out to Will and Mark Anthony for getting me over there to represent for myself and represent for Run the Jewels. But the thing is, Tip tells a story. They call Tip and they talk to him, and they say Tip says that when he asked me to go, I gave answers ranging from absolutely not to that's not our job. So most of the time I say so, but I also don't abandon my friends when they're in need. And the mayor's office was actually calling Tip, and so I was running around with our food truck, Bankhead Seafood, feeding Noriega, who was up from Miami. We were making sure Nori ate good and got a chance to have some champagne and fish. And all of a sudden, over this hour, Tip convinces me to go. I go. He compels me, to say something. I say something, and the next day, it resonates with people. And if you listen to the speech, if it can be called a speech, it was just more a speech, what was on my heart at that moment. But it is plot, plan, strategize, organize, and mobilize. Plot something out, plan it out, strategize with others. Plot, plan, strategize, organize with others, and then mobilize. And once you mobilize, that's when you start to see capitalization. You start to capitalize off those moments so that they don't become moments, but they are a part of a continuing movement to progress this country and this world in a better, more favorable place for all of us, not just us at the moment, but the all of us. We should be thinking, what seeds can we plant now that in 20 years are going to come to fruition? That's going to say, man, I was a part of making that change. So I'm proud that I listened to my friend in that moment, T.I., who is my dear friend and business partner, and I'm proud that Atlanta produced the exact same neighborhood produced him, me, and our current mayor, and that's a testament to Black communities and self-reliance. And I'm just damn proud to be in Atlanta.
I love that, because I always say, we can all wish for a better world, but wishing fairy tales, that's for children. What you have to do is you have to act on the things you want. And we know that as adults. So encourage communities to vote, to understand who they're voting for. It's not about party, in my opinion. It's about policy. Is this candidate going to support policy that benefits my community? I don't know what party I don't care. I just want to make sure that my community is doing better. And
Imagine
so
trying to
anyway,
win an argument with her at home.
You're a lucky man about it.
so I want you to talk about the new project, Run a Jules 4.
Hold,
Well, go ahead, Otto.
hold
Go ahead.
on,
I know
Dana.
you're excited about this. Go ahead.
Okay, before we talk about the project, I know you got to get your mind right before you start, recording. So do you like to start with an indica or a sativa? Or do you got to go for like a hybrid kind of thing?
Indica's only for me. El Sativa.
See, I'm an indica guy only too.
He doesn't listen to me. I stopped. I switched. Like last year. It's weird. I don't know. I feel like me and like 3 of my friends at the exact same time started not liking sativas anymore, and we started smoking indicas. I'm back on a sativa right now because the RTJ strain is actually the first one that we did as a sativa, but it's mellow like an indica. It's a body high like an indica. So that's what I like. There you go. I just don't like to smoke weed and just, curl up in the corner of my house quivering and shaking my fist in the air. You know what I mean? Like, so I try to just be in a good mood before I do anything.
I have to ask something as a non-weed smoker. Can you please explain to me what the difference is and what we're talking about? I'm sorry, I don't know.
Indicas are like wine. They relax you. You get real mellow. So they're like a port wine. And sativas are like champagne. Your brain starts moving a lot. You get all giggly, and you think you can dance on the couch with your heels on.
Killer Mike breaks down the weed. Thank you very much.
Perfectly explained.
In the couch is how I remember it. Killer Mike, I just want to say thank you for encouraging me to fill out my senses, because of you, I did.
You did? Oh, man, look, everybody out there, listen, especially if you're a person that is non-white Anglo-Saxon Protestant, please fill out the census, because our communities a lot of times are left out of the loophole from federal funding and money because they don't know if we're there or not. And I'll tell you this because a lot of times the worry is how much information you give. My grandfather was very adamant in giving them only the information they needed. That was the amount of people in the house, who's a man, who's a woman, what our age was, which were the boy children, which were the girl children. That was pretty much it for him, So you can fill out the census. You don't have to give up more information than is required. And I encourage all of us to do it because that determines how much money and resources are coming to our communities. And if we don't want to be underserved, we have to make sure that we're not undercounted.
Oh, and these are programs like, school lunch programs. These are grants for college. I mean, y se habla español también. Si no hablan inglés, también te pueden ayudar. Basically, I just told everybody, if you don't speak English, they're going to help you too with a census. They got a bilingual. It's true, though. A lot of people are afraid, well, can I do it? No. Si hablan español, te pueden ayudar. So fill your census out. It's very important. And now, Run a Jules 4. Talk about it, guys. I mean, how long did it take to complete the project?
About a year and a half. Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah.
And was it hard to get everything done once COVID started?
We were done before COVID started.
Oh, okay.
Oh, good.
We had the record done and written and basically just getting mixed at the end of 2019. So, yeah.
Is it a little bittersweet, LP and Killer Mike, for when you guys produce songs that are like, politically inclined, if you may, and you guys recorded them before anything happened, but they still hold the same weight now? To hear that you guys recorded the album before anything happened, tragically to Mr. Floyd, is mind-blowing to me, because it almost like some of the songs and some of the content seems inspired by it. So is it bittersweet for you guys as artists to have to go through that, to see like this?
Yes, that's a really good way to phrase it.
Now, I'm just saying, you don't want that to be the reality, but being able to poetically describe the reality and help people get in touch with their own empathy for a fellow human being and the loss of life is a responsibility and honor that the universe has given us, and we don't take it lightly. We love rap. We rap for the most part about braggadocio shit with a lot of swagger. And I'm very happy that at the time we choose to reveal our humanity and acknowledge others' humanity, that we can be a soundtrack to people pushing the line for people like Mr. Floyd, for Breonna Taylor, arrest her murderers. And I'm humbled that we're given that opportunity, but we don't want that to be. I don't want the world to be that. I'm simply finding a way to therapeutically express our angst, our love and empathy for what's going on in matters of state and the people. But I don't want to be right. I don't know.
I know, but I think the way you just described that was beautiful, because sometimes we'll have somebody say like, oh, well, I might not like the lyrics in this hip hop song. And I'm like, well, you need to change the world then, because all we're doing is telling the story.
Absolutely. Exactly. And, but it's also important to understand that and that's why I really like you saying bittersweet, because it's like me and Mike have often said, and I've said it out loud a bunch of times recently just to impress, like, look, honestly, the day that Run the Jewels is just the paranoid ramblings of two out of touch men is the day that the world is doing pretty good. You know what I mean? And like, we just want to make fucking fun ass stupid hip hop records that make you want to punch somebody in the face. Like, and we, but as men and as artists, we still feel compelled to address the things in our heart that, in the way that we need to. We have a platform, but more than anything, we have hearts. And so it makes it into our art. This is our expression, and this is the way that we get through life, by expressing this stuff. The fact that it connects, and the fact that him talking about the death of Eric Garner seems like it's talking about the death of yet another black man in 2020, because he's saying the exact same thing, is nothing less than tragic. It's nothing less than wrong. And we absolutely wish that weren't the case. It would be, in my heart, it would be better if when we dropped that record, everybody knew that he was talking about Eric Garner, because how could you possibly have heard the same words again in the same situation in 2020, 6 years later after Eric Garner's death? So,
but the unfortunate thing is, if you've lived in brown and black communities, or just impoverished communities in general, this isn't a new story. This is a decades old, centuries old story.
Centuries.
So for some of us, like I said, taking the conversation back to almost the beginning, when you vote, make sure the candidate supports policy that advances your community. Lobbyists don't have a problem asking for what they want. What you're doing with your vote is you're lobbying for a better life for you and your children. So please don't be afraid to do that. And on that note, go get Run the Jewels 4, people, because it's just feel good music. Come on.
Yeah, man. Yeah, man. By the way, I got to say, you and Mike just became best friends. Like, straight up. Like, you are literally verbatim quoting shit that Mike says every day in interviews. Like, it's amazing.
Let me tell you something. I'm a Mexican-American who grew up in humble beginnings, which means poor. And the one thing my Nana and my mom and everybody always talked about was education and voting and advancement and moving ahead. I started crying the other day talking to Automatic. I said, you realize I'm only the second person in my whole family to own a business. We own our show. But that means my children's life is better and their children's life is going to be better. And that's what it's all about. And that's what it's all about. And I don't care about these parties because they don't care about us. I care about my family and my community, and that's just the way it is.
Okay.
I love you, Killer Mike.
Okay.
It was awesome, man. This is a leader. Automatic, you better be a Stedman or Oprah. You better be a Michael Mercer. This woman is a fearless leader, man. She's a fearless leader.
She's the first Latina in the country to have a syndicated radio show. So we're moving in the right direction.
Amazing.
Dana, Automatic, when you guys come to Atlanta, please allow Shayna and I to take you guys out. Anthony, thank you for giving a damn about our music, not just our political stances. I appreciate you. But the cap is fly, brother.
I love you guys so much. Been a fan for a very long time. Love and light.
You.
Stay safe, stay healthy. Best of luck. We'll see you in Atlanta. We'll see you soon.
Before you leave, I want you to tell A$AP Rock that I still listen to Daylight all the time. That's a fucking
hey!
If the strand for RTJ needs 2 endorsers, you got some test pilots right here.
We got you.
Whenever we got something big, we're gonna make sure you guys get first smokes.
Love.
All right. Lucy Foss, love you, like guys.
Thank
we
you.
Love you.
Be safe.
Bye.
All right. Catch you later.